Hey, what's going on? Well, I know it's been a while since I've done a vlog from the Oval Office. I thought I would go ahead and do one for you today. I've actually got a couple days off from the radio station and thought, well, this would be a good time to go and play some catch-up. I'm in here working today, getting some things done for the DJ service, making some updates to the website and that sort of thing, so actually taking advantage of that. And I thought I'd go ahead and record a vlog since I haven't done one in a while, and I've had a lot of messages, people asking me, hey, why don't you do vlogs anymore? So I thought I'd go ahead and do that. And first of all, I do want to mention, though, when I do these vlogs and I give you guys advice and suggestions and things of that nature, that's just my own observation in 16 years of being a mobile DJ, things that I've noticed and things that have worked out well for me. And I'm not saying that you should do this or do that, or you should change your ways or anything like that. I'm just telling you basically what's worked out well for me, what my clients have liked, and just to give you some things to think about. So that's a little disclaimer here. When you hear me talk about things in these vlogs, I'm not saying you need to change your ways or do anything like that. I'm just giving you some things to think about and just telling you what works out best for me. Okay, now with that said, let's talk about wedding reception timelines and should you do them or not. And I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. I am not in favor of setting up a strict timeline for a wedding reception. And you're thinking, okay, well, what do you mean by that? Shouldn't a wedding reception be organized? Well, yeah, of course it should be organized. But what I'm saying is you don't need to set up a strict time schedule like saying, we're going to do the cake cutting at this time. We're going to do the bride and groom's first dance at this time, bouquet throw at this time. And, the reason I say that, and the reason why I tell my brides that we don't want to do that, is because if you try to stay on a strict time schedule, you're just going to drive yourself crazy, trying to stay on time. And also, a wedding reception is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be more like a party atmosphere. It's the time to be really laid back and to relax and have fun. And I tell my brides, if you're sitting there trying to stay on time, you're not going to be able to enjoy yourself. And I've noticed that that's been true over the past 16 years whenever we've tried that. So I don't recommend doing a time schedule at all for a wedding reception. But now here's what I do recommend, though. Now there are about 3 times when you want to make sure that you have a time set up for your wedding reception. That is a start time, which is the time that you want your DJ set up and playing background music. A time to have dinner ready, and an end time. That's it. Everything else will fall in place. And that's all what I always try to tell my brides and grooms is that your reception is going to create its own timeline as we go along. So there's really no need, try to set up a strict time schedule because, like I said, you're not going to, stay on time anyway, because think about if the ceremony's late, that's going to throw everything off, and then that just makes the whole time schedule, the concept, obsolete anyway. You don't know how long it's going to take for the pictures to be done. What if they take a little longer or whatever, it's going to throw everything off. So I just say don't even worry about doing a time schedule. But now here's what I do. I set everything up on an organized schedule events for the bride and groom, but I don't list times by them. We have everything listed right there for them, and what I do is I just go down and just check them off as we go along. And usually what I do is that, in 16 years you can kind of tell when it's time to move on to the next event. Like, for example, let's say dinner's getting ready to be concluded, and I start seeing people, start talking loudly and everything, and I can tell most people are starting to finish eating. What I'll do at that point is I'll go to the bride and groom and say, hey, bride and groom, it looks like most people have finished eating. Do you guys want to do your toast and your cake cutting in about 10 minutes? And they'll say, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. And that way the bride's got time to go run to the bathroom and then, whatever. And then what I'll normally do is I'll go to the photographer and let them know that we're going to be doing the toast and the cake cutting in about 10 minutes and make sure that they're ready so that they can go ahead and change their cartridge out if they need to do that or whatever they need to do. And then a lot of times I'll get on the microphone and I'll let the guests know that we're going to be doing our toast and our cake cutting in the next 10 minutes or so that they can go ahead and get their drinks ready and be ready for that. So that's what I do during the night. I check with the bride and groom. We make sure that that everybody's ready, and I don't announce anything until I personally check with the bride and groom and check with the photographer and the other vendors to make sure everybody's ready. Then I announce that we got events coming up. But like I said, there's really no need for us to set up a time schedule because I'm going to make sure that the photographer and all the other vendors have enough time before we announce any events, and I'm not going to announce them anyway unless everybody's ready. So it's just really best just to let it just flow naturally is the way I try to tell my brides. And I've had a lot of brides tell me that it works out that way, and I've had so many happy bride and grooms saying that they're happy that we did it that way instead of trying to stick to a strict time schedule. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a story, and this is one that I share with my brides and grooms whenever I meet with them at consultations. A number of years ago, I was doing a wedding down in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is about an hour away from Pensacola. And at the end of the night, I was there. I was packing up my equipment. I had the bride's sister come up to me, and she said, you know what, I really like how you had everything set up tonight. Everything just flowed naturally. My sister was able to sit back and relax and enjoy her event. She didn't feel like she was rushed or anything like that. I just really like how you had everything organized. And I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we just started talking a little bit. She was telling me about her particular wedding that she had I want to say like maybe 3 years before up in like, I want to say Michigan or Wisconsin or somewhere up north. Maybe it was Minnesota. I can't remember. But anyway, she said that the venue manager had planned out her reception, and I asked her how it went. And she said, well, he set everything up on a detailed time schedule. And she said he's walking around the clipboard saying, okay, we got to hurry up, got to stay on schedule. We got to do this and this and this and everything. And she said I was not able to enjoy my reception. And I said, really? I said, well, do you still have a copy of your itinerary? Here's my business card. Would you mind emailing it to me? I'd like to take a look at it. And she said, okay, I'll do that under one condition. Would you mind showing that to every bride that you ever meet with and tell them this is something that they don't want to do? So I said, okay, that sounds like a good deal. So anyway, I'm going to show you her time schedule, and we'll go over that, and then you can see why I would have had issues with it. Okay, now this is a copy of that bride's particular timeline that she had. She emailed this to me, and I do want to mention that I've changed the names of everybody involved on this just to protect their privacy. So again, the names aren't correct, but that's okay. But this is the copy of the actual timeline as it was as she sent it to me. Now, a couple things I want to mention. I had told her after I read this, I said, you know what, if I'd have been your DJ, I would have just been honest with you and told you were not going to be happy setting things up like this because, there's nothing relaxing, there's nothing fun about this. A reception is supposed to be fun and relaxing and stress-free, and I just see nothing but stress written all over this one, to be honest with you. And for instance, you can see like where they started everything, like the reception beginning at 5:30, the wedding party introductions at 6:05, after the bride and groom enter at 6 o'clock. First dance is 6:10, father bride dance 6:15, mother groom dance 6:20. The thing is, I couldn't figure it out. How would they know that the bride and groom are going to come in right at 6 o'clock? How do they know that the introduction to the wedding party are going to take 5 minutes? How do they know that the first dance song is going to be exactly 5 minutes? You see, this was just way too structured, in my opinion. And like I said, wedding reception is supposed to be fun, and I just don't see how anybody could have had fun doing this. And another thing that I happen to notice here, and I'm going to show this to you real quick. We scroll on down here. If you look right there at 7:30, they get into open dancing. Then at 8:30, they stop to do the bouquet and the garter toss. 8:45, 15 minutes later, more open dancing, and then 15 minutes after that, at 9 o'clock, they'd stop and do the toast and the cake cutting. And I asked the bride about that, the bride's sister rather, why did they set it up like that? And she said, well, the venue manager said that, if we save the toast and the cake cutting for later, that'll keep people around because they want to be there for the cake. They all want to have cake and stuff. And I said, well, that's not necessarily true. And she said, yeah, I quickly found that out. She said that a lot of people had left, and she ended up throwing away a lot of cake. But see, another thing by doing that, is once you, get into open dancing, you just don't want to stop the music because that just brings the reception dead on its feet. And another thing, too, is once you get into open dancing, you're going to have people that are going to leave. You're going to have people that are, they're elderly and got small kids, and they're not going to stay around once we get into open dancing. And then there's just people there that just aren't into dancing. So, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to miss the toast and the cake cutting if they did it this way. And another thing, too, is once you get into open dancing, you're going to have people that, are going to go outside to smoke and that kind of thing. And if you have to stop the open dancing and then round everybody out, bring them all back in, for something as, as subtle as a toast and a cake cutting, it's just going to kill the reception, which it pretty much did, is what she told me. So anyway, you see how they got back into more open dancing, and then they did, everything all the way here till the end. So again, this is something that, I would not have recommended to any bride to do, because like I said, this is just way, way too structured. And this is something that I do show to my brides at their consultations whenever we meet, because this particular bride had asked me to show them this and say this is something they don't want to do. So anyway, you can just kind of take a look at that, and like I said, I just can't see how anybody could have had fun with that. Okay, so now that you've seen a copy of a timeline that we don't recommend for our brides and grooms, I'm going to go ahead and show you now what we do for our brides and grooms at SNDJ Entertainment, and it's worked out well for, like I said, the last 16 years. I've had many brides and grooms like how we set this up, and I'm going to share that with you right now, so maybe this is something that, can give you some ideas on what you want to do. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, when it comes to a wedding reception, that's supposed to be a party. You don't want to set up a strict time schedule like we just showed you, but you definitely want to make sure that, it's relaxing, it's stress-free, it's fun, and it's organized, and you can do that without setting it up on a strict time schedule. We want to create an order of events to where it flows naturally, and like I said, the only times that you really want listed is a start time, which is usually the time that you want your DJ set up and ready to go and playing background music by, a time to have dinner ready, and an end time. That's it. Everything else will fall into place, and once you get years of experience behind you as being a mobile DJ, you're going to begin to realize that wedding receptions are going to follow their own timeline, and you're going to know when it's time to move on. You can share that information with the bride and groom and the other vendors. So like I said, a strict time schedule just really isn't necessary. But I'm going to show you an example now of how we normally set things up. Okay, so here we go. This is an actual wedding reception planner that I set up back in 2015. Again, the names of the brides and grooms and everybody involved have been changed, but this is an actual copy of an actual planner that I set up. Now, you see how we have it all nice and organized. You know, we have the welcome, the wedding party introductions. There's the song that they want to come out to. It was The Best Day of My Life by the American authors. There's the wedding party that they want everybody announced. And then you see what I'll ask them to do is I'll ask the wedding party to remain on the dance floor for like 30 seconds, so if anybody wants to have a group photo of them together, they can do so. But you see how we have everything set up. We got their socializing time, dinner, cake cutting, bouquet throw, garter toss, all that good stuff. And then we move into their spotlight dances. And then here's something that I normally do for the bride and groom's first dance. I usually ask the wedding party to come out and join them, like about, maybe when the song has about a minute to a minute and a half left. And then what that does, that creates a nice build up to the open dancing, because nobody wants to be the first one out on the floor. But if the wedding party and the bride and groom and everybody are already out there, then it's kind of contagious. You know what I'm saying? People will come out there and start dancing. And so that really helps out with the open dancing that way. So you see how we do the open dancing and then the bride and groom's final dance, and the time we have listed there at 9 o'clock p.m. is the time that the reception would end. So you see how we make it really, simple and real easy to follow. And like I said, we don't have to have times listed. Saying we're going to do the wedding party introductions at this time, and the bouquet throw at this time, garter toss at this time, and all this other stuff. We have it all right here, and it's also flexible too, in case the bride and groom decide they want to change something. We don't have to worry, about trying to stay on time, and it just really creates a whole different environment. And like I said, what I do is I keep this on a clipboard. I just go through and I just check off everything after we've done it, and I always check with the bride and groom before we move on to any of these major events, and it just works out well that way, and it just really takes a lot of stress off the bride and groom, and I've had nothing but positive compliments on that. So anyway, that's just a copy of how we do things, and we set everything up like that for the bride and groom. And of course, we'll change the order on however they want to do it. I mean, this is just a sample outline. But if the bride and groom want to do their wedding or their first dance rather right after the wedding party introductions, we can always do that. It's whatever they want to do, but we always try to make it organized. But we don't set things up on a strict time schedule. Okay, so that's it. I hope you're able to take something out of that. And like I said, in 16 years, that's the way I normally do things. I set everything up on an organized, written planner for my brides and grooms. But like I said, I don't put times out to have everything accomplished by, because that's just going to drive everybody crazy if you do that. But this has really worked out well for me. And like I said, I hope you've taken something out of it. And if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to drop me a line down below in the comment section, or you can always drop me an email. My email address is right there on the screen. So feel free to drop me an email, and I'll get back to you, and we'll discuss it. If you have any ideas for any future vlogs you'd like me to talk about, or share some ideas, or whatever it may be, just send me an email and I'll be glad to do that. So until next time, practice and enjoy.